Hey there, and welcome to the Board Game Sherpa channel. The channel takes the fear out of board gaming and puts the fun back in. Today, we're honored to have a special guest with us, Charles Paul Wilson III. Charles is the illustrator and co-creator of the New York Times bestselling graphic novel, The Stuff of Legend, and now the board game of the same name, coming out from 3WS Games on July 26th. Although, the Kickstarter has already started shipping, and I have my copy of the Boogeyman edition. Charles is also the illustrator for Wraith, written by Joe Hill and made to a great AMC show called Nosferatu, starring Zachary Quinto. And his drawings can be found on the pages and covers for XFiles, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Tales from the Darkside, Goosebumps, Superman, Captain America, The Shadow. Now, this makes him blush all the time, but he really is one of my top 3 favorite artists. And the number of times I've bugged him for commissions over the years has turned us into friends. It doesn't hurt that he's probably one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. So, welcome, Charles.
Thanks. Good to be here.
Cool. So, let's start with a very, very basic question. What got you into the art?
Well, let's see. When I was 13, I was reading a comic that had an ad for the Joe Kubert School of Cartoon and Graphic Art. I went to that school to learn how to draw comic books. I was drawing comics before I got there, so a lot of stuff I had to work out, how to tell a story sequentially. And I carried that there. I was able to just utilize what they taught me to doing them professionally. And then I just tried to stick with it after I graduated. One of the things they tell you at school is that your first 1,000 pages that you draw for comics is you gotta do those and get comfortable with how you tell your story and all of the drawings that go into it, and drawing just in general, and the amount of communicating you're going to do between you and the reader. I've been really lucky with my drawing being, like putting a print and getting work and other things like that. And the person that I met outside of school that I wound up working a lot with was Michael DeVito. And his brother was in one of my classes at art school. And he does all of the production artwork, and he's the publisher and everything for 3rd World Studios. They're the ones that publish Stuff of Legend. So I've got to work with him. I got to work with IDW on a number of things.
Which was your favorite project to work on?
I think I had the most fun working on XFiles related stuff, which I never got approval to draw Mulder and Scully. I tried. I couldn't do it. I had such trouble with the likenesses that when work came up for that, the editors were still kind enough to offer me work. I could draw it if I wasn't drawing Mulder and Scully. Do you know what I mean? So okay. I got to do 4 covers, and then there was a short story and a cover for Funko Pop that was XFiles related, and that was a lot of fun. But there's stuff in every single. I see your cat. Okay, so there's stuff in like every single project that I got to work on. I noticed that when I was offered work and I said yes, like a lot of more interesting projects kept coming up, and it was kind of neat. And I got to work on Wraith with Joe Hill for a while, for the extent of that book. That was really cool. And I keep wondering, it's just, if somebody else had sent me a novel in the mail and was just like, here, could you read like this 400 million page book, and then we'll work on a graphic novel. I don't know if I would have been able to do that, if it had been anybody else, really. But I had read his Lock and Key books with Gabe Rodriguez and Jay Photos, and those books were so neat that I was very excited to get to work with them in the first place. So yeah, that was really neat. I worked on that Marvel Winnie the Pooh cover. It was just featured the Hulk stuck in the wall, and I had to draw it in the style of E.H. Shepard, Ernest Shepard, the original artist for the guy that illustrated the Winnie the Pooh books. Okay. And that has played a huge part an influence on my work. I get so much commission work still from working in that style. It's evolved. Like it's I've never sat down to, well, that's not true. I haven't done a considerable amount of work enough for it to, like, story wise and print wise or anything, for it to really take on the form it has. It's just all been through commission work that this stuff has slowly been evolving from plush animals that look like maybe Ernest Shepard may have drawn them, sort of, you know. Like, I look at them now and I'm like, back then I was convinced that it looked pretty spot on, but now when I look at it, I'm like, oh, I see so much, you know, like, just having looked at this for a long time. It's a totally different landscape of artists that are out there now, than when I was able to walk to the comic shop and pick up anything, well, the convenience store, and pick up anything off the shelf, because there weren't a whole lot of options for a lot of different styles to my, like, young readers' eyes, you know. They might have been drawn by just the same person as far as I would have thought back then, you know. That stuff too is obviously totally different now that I see this, you know. Like, I feel I can spot anybody's style right off the bat almost, but I think that I didn't aim for anything specific or anything to. I was trying to aim towards what those traditional comic book artists had been doing this whole time. That's what I thought I was aiming at, and I wound up pulling what I was learning from this evolved Winnie the Pooh style into the house style of, you know, for regular mainstream comic. I honestly don't have a good term for it. And then and it's, you know, like, real magic started happening with my drawings, and so I was starting to push and pull things where I wanted to, instead of kind of being at the whim of the way things are all the time. And you can't really cheat things, you know. Like, I know one of my shortcomings at school, I wanted to jump to the advanced stuff right away, and they would start from the very very basic lesson. There are a lot of things that, because I didn't do it right the first time, I had to work it out the next time, you know, like when I was on my own with it.
I was looking at this book, and I one of the nicest pieces in here was the dinner party at the mayor's house. So this scene right here, the detail in this shot, the detail in this frame is so amazing. How long did it take you?
I don't remember. I do remember I really liked working on that one. So I didn't get a sense of like, oh my gosh, this is like the second day I'm working on this thing. We're already ready for this to be over. It wasn't anything like that. It was like, I did really like putting that one together. I had to pick what I was doing on the sides, on the side panels, and I don't know if I'd make the same choices today,
Right.
but I thought that one came out pretty good.
Yeah, it was an amazing. I can find like something new every time I look at this.
Working on this book has been an experience for, like, you know, all kinds of things, and I've sat down to learn new things so that I could do other things with, like, this book and other books too. You know, coloring, working digitally was not in the cards. You know, like, it seemed like something that I just wouldn't be interested in, but I wound up, you know, really liking it a whole bunch once. And the fun thing about that was looking up tutorials to learn how to do something new. And so I went from doing basic art fixes at first on stuff of legend to, you know, like, I was able to do a lot of different things with, you know, like Photoshop, for example. Like, one of the things early on when Random House picked up the first volume, they asked us to take out some of the more extreme violence, the egregious stuff, you know, knives cutting throats and all kinds of other things, you know. And we discussed it, you know, like, does it compromise, you know, like, the integrity of anything we've done, you know, or anything like that. And we were fine with it. So I went in and just, you know, like, I redrew stuff, and, you know, that wasn't a thing that I had planned on learning how to do, but there it was, and it was kind of neat. That was just the beginning of it.
How did you go from the board? How did you go from the book to the board game?
That was something that Mike DeVito wanted to do a long time ago. For as long as I've known those guys, they were always playing something, and I'd go away to shows with them. One of the things that I remember was, I think it was Carcassonne. Have you ever played that? Am I even saying that right?
It's Run the Wall, right under Chopper.
Yeah, I think we were playing that, and I had a really good time with that. And so they have been playing, like card games and board games and all kinds of stuff ever since I've known them. And Mike, he had some pretty clear ideas of things that, like he was excited to do. Not just, like they weren't necessarily from a point of view, at least I didn't think so, where he's just like, what'll make us a boatload of money. It was just a lot of it was creative thinking. Anyway, they worked on another game that did really well, and I think it gave him enough motive to push towards getting Stuff of Legend done, unless he had already started working on it, because this game was in the making for a really long time, and I mean like a really long time. Long before the Kickstarter happened, like they were in the process of doing things, like that he wanted to make this. And so hopefully when we get the ball rolling, if I know they want to make another one, or I hope they're serious when they say so. I'm excited for, volumes 3 and 4, because this board game covers volumes 1 and 2 of the books. And another one would cover volumes 3 and 4. And that one's pretty neat. That one would have some of volume 3, a Jester's Tale. And since I don't think you're that far in the book, I won't spoil anything.
I've just finished volume 1. So
okay, yeah.
There are some pieces in the game that I'm like, I don't know what that is. I love the characters in the game. What was the inspiration for
them? All right. For in the comic, let's see. I know that the writers originally came up with, and I think it might have been Rach, Max the Bear first, and they kicked ideas back and forth when they worked at Marvel. They were both editors over there, and so a lot of from what I remember hearing, was they would throw ideas back and forth to each other and stuff, and at some point, I don't remember when, they got together to explore one of the ideas, which was a teddy bear defending the boy from the boogeyman, I think. And the dog played a big deal in it. I don't know. It's a bit tough, but I mean, like
you weren't part of that at that point.
I was not part of that. But when I look at it, I know that Mike Rach brings a sense of drama and I think horror to the story and the characters. And then Brian Smith, or Smitty, he brings a sense of humor and lightheartedness to stuff too, so that you can look at the characters, and I could be wrong, but I feel that like looking at the characters, I could see who was like introduced by who, in the initial story.
Who now for the appearance, the final appearance of all the characters, is that them or is that you?
Well, that was me, but one of the things that I really liked about that I had to sit down with, some things weren't up to me, not really, in like the sense of like the Colonel, for example, was a originally I drew him as a World War II soldier, but they felt that, and I think that was during the tryout character designs, they wanted it to be a World War I soldier. They feel that if the boy had a toy of the soldier, he probably wouldn't have anything from the ongoing war, or he would have something from before. And he's had it long enough for it to be a favorite. and so that was where that guy came from. You know, like his basic look was somewhat simple. You know, like in contrast, you had Jester, who had a lot of detail, and there was an opportunity to draw a lot of detail on him. I really liked it a lot. I tried to pick patterns that would go with each. That would go with each one. You know, like, and a lot of it's in the form of stripes. You know, like, or in his case, he had checkers and stripes, and you had to decide what, you know, like if you had. Let's see, like Max, for example, was a very simple design. Just a ribbon is essentially what I added to a teddy bear. And when I drew him, he was loosely based. And I don't know if you can see it from there. Do you remember that white bear from the Snuggle commercials? I think that's what they were.
The little white. Okay, my wife loves that Snuggly bear.
Okay, yeah. Well, I had a bear that kind of looked like that, kind of. And I remember more what my bear looked like than the Snuggly, but that's the one that I can, if I'm describing it, that's what I use. But that bear, I think, had a bow also.
Okay.
I think, maybe not, I don't know, but I feel that that's the bear that I was drawing, you know, like whenever I was drawing Max. It was my original bear. And I don't think he had a bow. But I think the bow was something that, yeah, I can't even remember. But it was, all of them had to have something that made them a little bit more interesting than the base design, you know, like from a base description, you know?
Right. I tell you, one of the coolest things is that Max, the stuffed animal, becomes like the real bear. Like it took me a few frames to realize that was Max, the teddy bear.
He's a great character. Like, just solidly written, I feel. You know, like you'll find out when you read further. There's a lot more to him than just a very simple design. And so, but yeah, you know, like a lot of it. And when I was painting one of the covers and I had to come up with color schemes, another thing was trying to, because I had a lot of stuff in my head from when I would read interviews about, you know, like what people were doing with X-Men. The stuff I remember most was strong guy for X Factor. They were like, oh, you needed a big, strong guy, and you needed so-and-so that was kind of like a rogue and so on, you know. And
Dungeons and Dragons. You have to have the tank.
For me, for me, it would have been, the X-Men stuff, and then, you know, like the group stuff, you know, like all the different dynamics between the characters, that it wasn't just who they were, but how they looked next to each other. And so that, there was that. Okay. And then another thing was that Harmony, the metal ballerina, who was a metal spin top, that design, the final design came from Brian, who is a really good artist. Like, just, he's really, really amazing. So, or you could call him very comfortably a cartoonist because of how good he is. And so, much more comfortable with his drawing than I am with mine, I think, even still. And so, so he came up with I had a different design for Harmony. And then he had an idea that they sent my way. And so that's what we have for her now. But that was how they came out, you know. Oh, Percy, also, this is one of my favorite details that I like to bring up every now and then. I guess Mike DeVito's brother Tony, who I went to school with, used to have a blue piggy bank, and so that's why he's a blue piggy bank, you know, like when you see him in color.
I tell you, the artwork in the box, I was like, you know, I love your artwork already, but this stuff is amazing.
Oh yeah, you know what's funny about that one was, excuse me, I had been watching Smallville at the time, and just religiously, you know, like, and that, what you're holding up right there was in the background at the comic book convention, and that's that comic book convention episode of Smallville. I think it's season 8 or 9, I can't remember, but it was neat. And it's hanging sideways though, you know, and it goes by in a glance. I saw it, but I thought that was a neat thing.
How have people been reacting to the game? Like I know people it's starting to just be delivered in Kickstarter, the Kickstarter people. How
From what I understand, it's been received pretty well. So that's a plus.
one of my favorite channels is the Dice Tower, and they just recently reviewed and they gave it a really great rating. He loved the game, and it was he loved the game, loved the artwork, loved everything.
That's good to hear. Yeah, I'll check that out.
Well, excuse me.
I think there's a meme about cats and monitors.
Yep.
I just saw recently.
The cats want to start their own OnlyFans. But what was I going to say? I got lost track. Like I said, I just got this yesterday. Did an unboxing video that'll come out shortly. And tomorrow at 12, my buddies and I are playing it for the first time. So I'll be going through that rule book a lot tonight and tomorrow morning. There are a couple. Does 3WS has a how to play video, right? I thought I saw that somewhere.
Yes, there is a how to play video, and there is also a Discord group. Now the guys, I let's see. Someone had questions about certain things. Everything should be explained in the manual. It should be, but if for any reason you just can't, get the answer you want, there's a Discord group that the question can go to, and gotcha. Kevin Wilson is on there too. If there's any confusion, they'll go there and they will answer any of the questions.
Okay, there's also a great site called the boardgamegeek.com, where it has every game known to man, and they have a forum where people have rule question checks, and the community really just it's all community based. And if you ask a question, you'll probably get an answer within 24. You'll probably get a bunch of answers within 24 hours. That's
okay. Yeah, that's good. I've heard lots of positives.
If I have any questions with this game, I'm gonna bug you first. I'll just let you know that. But it's a very pretty rule book too.
Oh yeah, that's all Mike DeVito. Mike DeVito did every single thing. Like if it isn't like a drawing that I drew or a painting that I painted, he did all of the artwork. He made everything else for this game. Like that's printed on and in the box. And so, yeah, that's all his work.
Okay.
I don't know where they got. I think they might have made this. The image on the back. I'm not sure though. I'm pretty sure they made this, and then I just drew this based on I don't know, like the rules part. I just rendered it on a piece of paper and he put it into the book or onto the book. So
gotcha.
But like the insides, yeah, it's just, and they combed over this a lot. Like this wasn't hastily put together or anything like that.
Now this is gorgeous. When I saw that, this is
oh yeah, this was one of the first color images that I did. Let me get mine out. And I did not know what colors anybody was. This is when I was really trying to work out a color scheme. Right. And the characters on the right, though, they aren't actually, that's not what was originally painted there. The bad guy villains. And so, but everybody on the left, this was where they were at. And this was also, I really wasn't sure about doing color in the first place. So when they asked me if I could do some like color images and not just, like pencil rendered images or whatever, I wasn't really sure. I had worked a little bit with dyes, painting with dyes, and so that's what this was painted with. Yeah, I think this was like my first bit of anything that had to do with the book. It was either that or the cover to the first issue, but yeah. So this was the first one I was trying to figure out who was going to be colored what, and
Okay.
so and that was one of the things that I liked. It was part of the character design, like even though it was much later, trying to figure out who was what color when.
Right.
Harmony, the metal ballerina, though, one thing though is that depending on how I am going to paint her onto a cover, sometimes I paint her with black hair and sometimes I paint her with pink hair, and the inconsistency between them is I just like it. I don't mind that, like it's something that the inconsistency is the consistency, but it's
Gotcha.
not going to make sense. But
She's a toy.
sometimes you'll see her with pink hair, and sometimes you'll see her with black hair.
Okay. Now I'm gonna look for that. How can you get the game, and do you know when it will? I mean, I know it's on Kickstarter and it's getting delivered, but does it go? I think it goes on sale July 26th. Is that right? In retail?
That's correct. July 26th, it hits retail.
Anything about Stuff Legend that I might have missed that you want to talk about? The game, the book, the board game.
Well, we have. I'm working on the 6th volume right now with my friend Adam Walmsley, who also went to school with me, and hopefully we'll have that finished before too long. And then let's see, we've got 5 volumes out right now.
5 volumes. The volume.
Now they're all released in soft cover trade format. The first 4 volumes are related or have been released in 2 omnibus, and we are currently re-releasing the individual volumes in hardcover. And right now we have the first 2 out, volumes 1 and volume 2, The Dark and the Jungle, respectively. And we're doing rounds of edits on. Yeah, we're doing rounds of edits on the 3rd and 4th. Now that was another thing. Was it says book 1, The Dark, but it covers both volumes of our first 2 volumes, all the way from The Dark into the Jungle.
Okay, because I did see that some of the cards were the Jungle and Hopscotch and Brooklyn Yards, and so I did see. I assuming a lot from volume. I'm only finished the volume 1 of this. So.
Oh yeah. It's hopefully you like it enough to keep going.
Absolutely. I'm planning to get 2 as soon. Next time I see you, I'm grabbing 2 and having you sign that one as well.
Yeah, there's some pretty big payoffs a lot later too that were pretty. I don't know. They were very smart about how they were putting this stuff together, I think. So I do hope you really like it.
I'm sure I will, because I do love this one. Are you guys going to be at? Well, I don't think you are, but are you? Is your team going to be at GenCon?
Yes, yeah, they will be there. 3rd World Studios will be there. They should have a demo of the game. Like they've got some really great people demoing the game. Well, at least if Will Escrow is there, he knows this game inside and out, and then he just everything about it. He's really good at it.
It's manual.
Actually, I think everybody there should be like really good to go on everything about the game.
Will there be any designers, or will Kevin Wilson be there? Will Michael DeVito be there?
Well, Michael DeVito will be there, I believe. I don't know about Kevin Wilson. I don't know. Honestly, I haven't spoken to him a whole bunch. He seems like a really cool guy. I've seen him a little bit in the Discord. But man, he really, really channeled our book really, really well with what he put into this game. It's probably just can't be said enough, really. But I'm only just saying it now. And this, it's really, I don't know, like for as familiar as I am with every single one of these characters, and now I'm thinking primarily of the character cards and their abilities. It's really good stuff. So, just really well done on his part.
Yeah, I mean, I can't wait to play it tomorrow. And, you'll see how it goes. But yeah, I definitely will be stopping by the table at Gen Con because I'm going. So, where can we see more of your work?
Well, let's see. I'm as far as online goes, I post on social media, like Facebook and Instagram mostly. Um,
I'll
let's
put the
see.
link in the I'll put the link in the description somewhere
Okay,
here.
yeah. I haven't been posting a whole lot. It's like a combination of like my personal one and my art one. I don't post a whole lot of everything, but occasionally you'll see like a picture of vacation, and then the next one will be a picture of a commission or something. So
Gotcha. But your Instagram is at CP Wilson 11 I.
yes, yeah.
What are some of your next projects if you know if you can talk about it?
That's I'm mostly working on stuff of legend right now. That's pretty much it. I've got a few things that I work on the side that I don't have plans to carry anywhere. Um, they're just for me. And then let's see, and when stuff of legend doesn't occupy my time, I'm touching stuff on that. And then let's see, I did some cover work for my friend Joseph Schmalke's I believe it's through Black Caravan and CEX. I did a cover for his book 7 Years in Darkness, and then let's see. I really don't have much laid out that I can speak of anyway. There are some things coming from Skeleton Crew um, that haven't been announced yet. And then have any listeners here that are into Lock and Key, the graphic novel that Joe Hill and Gabe Rodriguez and Jay Photos and those guys, and um, Skeleton Crew Studios did a lot of replica keys from that book. And I've also worked on other keys that are themed to go along with the novel Nosferatu that Joe wrote. And I believe they might have some Candy Cane Gates keys left, but the Graveyard of What Might Be key, which just came out recently, that one might be sold out, but you could probably check with them to see. And that one comes with an exclusive story for that particular key. It comes on the box.
Okay. These are the one I think I saw these at the last convention I saw yet.
Yes, yeah, I have a few. I'll occasionally bring them out to shows.
Okay. Um, anything else you want to add before we close this down?
Nothing except for thanks for liking this enough to have me on. So that's pretty nice of you.
Oh, anytime. You're always welcome here. All right. So that's about it. Thank you so much, Charles, for being willing to come on and be willing to talk about stuff of legend and everything. I'll put the link up for all his stuff in. I'll put his link in my description so you can find him online. Check it out. His stuff really is amazing. Have you read any of the books or played the board game yet? Let me know in the comments what you think. And if you like this video, please subscribe and give big thumbs up. And we'll give you more content as time goes on. Thank you so much, Charles. And that's it. See you next episode.